Hey guys, Galucia here, and today I am kicking off another Civilization 5 Let's Play. It's important to me that I stick with Civ 5. I know I have a deep Civ 5 fan base, and seeing as how the next expansion comes out sometime in the summer, I know the date, but I forget it off the top of my head, but it's July something. Since we know that the expansion is coming out, I really wanted to keep kind of playing along in the game, but I also wanted to work towards any achievements that I haven't gotten now so that I can get most of them out of the way in time for the new achievements that'll come with the thing. So let's start off right here by saying what a great starting area. I got freaking pearls, I got freaking stone, cotton. It was a nice starting area. So today, or I should say for this series, because obviously it won't take a day, but what we will be working on is this. Let me open this up. So close. Fully explore the tech tree. Now, typically, if you're going for like a science victory, obviously the majority of the tech tree will get discovered. But typically, you can complete the spaceship before you actually. Oh, that's a river there too, isn't it? Dang, I got everything. Typically, when you complete the spaceship, you haven't fully explored the tech tree yet. And there's still some room there for potential learnage. So let's open up this tech tree really quick. First of all, due to my surroundings, I would say I would want to learn calendar first for the thing. And I like pottery. Either way, I need to do pottery for that early growth because I'm going for science, which means population. So, go way down here at the end. So at the very, very end, whoa. It's like stayed clicked in. So at the very, very end of the tech tree, you have your nanotechnology and your particle physics, and you need those to complete the science victory. What you don't need to obtain that is lasers, which leads to stealth. The nanofusion, which of course is for the giant death robots. And you don't need telecommunications, which leads to globalization, and then all of that leads to future tech. So, if we're keeping count here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 techs that you don't have to research to get a science victory. So, having said that, if it's a tight race, if the game is tight, that can be difficult to do. And I've just never bothered. I've been close before and just never bothered to do it. So, I really wanted to work on getting these achievements, and every time I hit Shift Tab, that's the number one. For some reason, this one's here, which is the last one that I did, I guess. So that's why that's there. So that makes sense. So this must be like the top one that I haven't. And you see, I've done 30%, 69 out of 227 achievements. There's a lot of achievements for this game. And I'm not a big achievement guy when it comes to Steam. Like on PlayStation 3, I love the achievements because you get those trophies. That's awesome. I love those trophies. But for some reason on Steam, it just never felt cool enough. I don't know. I just never really cared that much. Nice. Population. Good. Science. So, I never really gave two craps about it. But lately I have. Like more of the Steam games have been like standing out to me as far as like I want to get the achievements for them. Now for this one, I just did a gameplay because somebody suggested it to me, and unfortunately, I was just making I was just playing the game, and I didn't make a video for it. But somebody in the comments suggested that I get the one to rule them all achievement, which is essentially beating the game with only one city. You can't have more than one city at any time. And I did that. I did it as Gandhi. And I went for the cultural victory, and it was actually surprisingly easy. I was surprised how easy I could do that, and I actually got 3 different achievements from that that gameplay. So I was like, oh wow, 3 achievements, nice. And then now I'm kind of like off to the races. So there's a couple civilizations I've never beaten the game as, so those are easy achievements. But I didn't want to do that for a video. That's too easy, you know? I mean, like, if you're just, like, hunting achievements, then just turn the difficulty all the way down and just start beating it with all the different civilizations and stuff, you know? Because a lot of those achievements say under any difficulty settings. But I wanted to keep it on my normal difficulty settings while going for a rudely drawn map. Now, there's a city-state over there with just a short body of water and another city-state. I really wanted to get the achievement the proper way with at least playing at the difficulty that I normally play at. You know, I'm not going to, like, crank the difficulty up and make it even harder, but I could play it at least at the normal difficulty that I play it at, which is 4. I get that question a lot. My typical difficulty setting is 4. 4 is like the top difficulty setting before it gets to be slightly silly. At 4, the AI is a little bit better, and we're all on an even playing field. My cities, my starting stuff, their cities, their starting stuff, it's all the same. As soon as you get up to 5, they have a little bit more in the way of starting stuff. Their soldiers have a little bit more health points than mine do. It just... everything starts to get just slightly skewed to them, because to make the game more challenging and to raise the difficulty setting, there's only so much they can do as far as like the AI and stuff like that. So to compensate and make the game more challenging, they just make the computer players better. They literally just give them more hit points and stuff like that. Nice. Discover natural wonder. So not much I can do about that, obviously. So it is what it is. But yeah, so I don't like playing with a difficulty setting higher than 4, because to me, like, yes, the challenge is nice, believe it or not. Like, I enjoy a good challenging game. I've tried to beat this game, by the way, on the highest difficulty setting, and I haven't done it yet, but that's something for another day. But it's not that it's challenging in the way that I would like it to be. It's just like, well, if you try to attack a city, you're going to need 3 times as many troops as you would normally would, because the city has an ungodly high amount of hit points, and they had way more resources than you right from the beginning. So they're already working on infantry, and you still have pikemen. Like, it's just ridiculous how they make it more difficult. So 4, to me, is fair. It's nice and even. Everyone's on the same playing field, and I like that. Now, for a science victory, I went with Babylon because they get an early, excuse me, great scientist, and then they continue to get great scientists 50% more often than other civilizations. And those great scientists definitely come into play for getting the early, excuse me, it's my throat. For getting those early techs and locking those up. So I've gotten the last time I actually have already played as Babylon and won before. I was playing on my Alienware laptop for that gameplay. When I get breaks at school and stuff like that, like we get like 2 half-hour breaks throughout the day where we can just do whatever. So I'll just go to like the student area. It's called the student pad, but it's like it's just an area where you can like just sit to have a meal or whatever. And I just set up my Alienware laptop and play a half-hour Civ and then go back to class. So I got a science victory by Babylon, and I was getting science at such an alarming rate. It was honestly unreal how quickly I was getting a science victory. I was light years ahead of everybody else in technology. I mean, just literally light years. So for this one, to get the entire tech tree, I wanted to use them again, because like I said, I did have a lot of success with them. Of course you spit out a unit. It would be stupid if you didn't. I'm going to get that ruin first. Alright, so there's that guy. He can just go straight to science right where he stands. There'll be plenty of time for farms later on. And we already did calendars, so they can go straight to the cotton. So that's a huge bump to science. Now, I skip library and go for great library because it gives you a free library, so why not? But before I do that, I'm doing the granary, only because population is also very important for a science victory. More people you have, more science you have, and no, not. No. What am I doing? No. That's not what I wanted to change. I want to change that. Okay. To mining. Just because I want to... Yeah. the city's going to be tied up for a while, so I don't have to research anything specific. I'm not making any workboats, so there's no point in making sailing yet. So, yeah, it's very tied up into the population, and taking 26 turns to make the Great Library is all well and good, but during that 26 turns, my population could gain 1 or it could gain 2, depending on what I have going on. And I would prefer it to gain 2. So, for me, what I need to do is make the granary first, then, plus it'll probably speed up slightly the speed at which I build the Great Library, because the more people you have, the more production you have as well. People are good for everything. Where are you guys coming from? I was just about to take out your buddies, and then you jerks show up. Wow, they tried to attack my spearmen and just evaporated. I love when because I take away the combat animations, because otherwise, like, later in the game, it just makes everything take forever, because the combat animations for 100 units takes a long time, and at the end of the game, when there's war going on all over the place, you just have to sit there and watch all that animation. It takes forever. So I turn that off, but I don't make it a quick movement, though, because I do actually like seeing troops move, because sometimes someone can move from a area that you can't see into your area, and you can see where they're moving from, rather than them just, like, appearing. Like, where did you guys come from? So I like the movement animations, but I turn the combat animations off. But it's funny looking when they clash against your unit and then die, because all you see is a poof of smoke and they're gone. Like, what happened? Of course there's an extra unit there. Well, whatever. So I like using Liberty when I go for science, because, again, population is important and you want to grow it as early as possible. I'm going to take these settlers here and put them right here, because this is, again, a sea tile. It's a river tile. It's next to truffles, which is nice because I don't have that yet. And it does have the stone to help them out with production, the cattle below, so on and so forth. I thought about putting it down here, possibly right in this tile, because that's on the opposite side of the continent, so potentially different oceans, so on and so forth. But there's no reason why I can't do both and just, like, tightly network my my early cities. But yeah, I love that as my first policy, because you get that free settler early on. You also get a free worker in a little bit. So it's really good for that early growth in the game. Now, it is a little bit close to Antwerp, so my borders to, like, the north and, like, northeast-ish won't grow as much as they could potentially grow otherwise. But other than that, there's really no downsides to it. Okay, so we finished the granary. This is up to 31 turns now, but whatever. So it won't stay at 31 turns, but we're going to get going with that, because that's obviously going to take a little while. It gives us a free library to begin with. So, I mean, your science just goes out of control when you build that so early in the game. It's a great early start to technology. And what I've always noticed when I'm working on technology as my, like, a science victory, that the whole game just goes easier, because you get everything so much more advanced so quickly compared to everyone else, that everything is better. Your military is better. Everything is just better, and it's just easier. It's just not as much of a pain in your butt to... I can use these guys to help out now. Shabba! But yeah, it's just a lot nicer. There's no other really way to put it. It's just a lot nicer. So, take them out. My warriors, though, I'm going to let them heal up in this newly formed area that they can heal up in. But yeah, I've always found that things just go a lot smoother, your science being really high, and it's hard to focus on your science being very high when you're going for other types of victories, because you have to focus on that. You're going for a culture victory. You're not building a lot of science buildings. You're looking for increasing your culture. And you'll notice I'm building culture buildings here, but that's just because I don't want any one of my things to get too low. I can't have my gold production go down to nothing, because that's going to set me up for failure. I can't have my... I'm going to back these guys up. I want to let them heal. If they come to me, then the city could help anyway. I can't let my culture just go to nothing, because culture plays a big part in your science victory as far as the various policies in rationalism that will greatly increase your science. You need to fully not research, but you need to fully go through those policies if you want to have that science victory. So your culture can't be nothing. You do have to work on it. Unfortunately, I have to retreat my workers because these guys showed up, which I was just thinking about because I was healing these guys, and I said, well, even though the spearmen's got a little bit while to go to finish healing, I'm going to move the warriors over there because eventually we have to deal with that other barbarian encampment, and they might send another unit up. And then sure enough, here they are. And they're pillaging my crap. Sons of biatches. So I was like, I need to move those warriors over there to help deal with that situation. And then those guys showed up. So, okay, something crappy happened, but it ended up being an unfair advantage. My computer has been doing this weird thing lately, and I have not been able to figure out why yet. But every once in a while, the video card has an issue where everything freezes. Then everything turns to black, like all my monitors turn off, and then they turn back on, and everything is fine. Yesterday, when I was playing Terra with my wife and a friend of mine, Mr. K, who some of you would know by name, that was fine. It froze, and it was a problem, but I came right back, and nothing happened. But in Civ, when it just happened, it crashed the game, so I had to completely restart the game. Which means I had to load from the autosave, which means I already knew that those archers were coming, so I sent my warriors over there. So they didn't have to stop working for 2 turns, and only one of these got pillaged instead of 2. So in my computer having this weird problem and crashing, it has created a window of opportunity for me, and I was able to capitalize on that and have the situation not as bad. Out of my hands, I don't normally play Civ like that where I like regularly save or whatever, and then if something goes bad, then I just, say whoops and then roll back the save file or whatever. That's not how I roll, but who am I to look a gift horse in the mouth? So, c'est la vie. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with my graphics card, though. It's very annoying. And I had lost my train of thought, so whatever I was talking about before that I'm not talking about now, I apologize, because I honestly just lost my train of thought and have no idea what I'm sure it had something to do with the science, something or other. But so, yeah, I don't know what's going on with my graphics card. It was getting very hot lately, like hotter than it normally did. The whole heat of my computer in general was just getting a little bit more than it used to. And I was honestly having trouble figuring out that. Like, I was like, why is this happening? Why is my computer getting so much hotter? So I have been running my video card's fan speeds at a higher than normal speed. Normally I run them at 70%. Lately I've been running them at 80%. And again, that's because of how hot everything's been getting. Even right now as we speak, my video card's temperature is 61 degrees. Now, the video card would freeze everything and black everything out if it was getting way too hot. It would do that because it could look at itself and be like, we are getting way too hot. We just need to stop working for 10 seconds and shed some heat before we die. And video cards are pretty good at doing that. But that wasn't the case here. It wasn't that hot. Although 62 degrees, which is what it is right now, so it's slightly climbing, that is warm. It's not so warm that you're in a lot of trouble. And this is Celsius, by the way, so that's like 140 some degrees is what it actually, in Fahrenheit, is what it is right now. Whenever you're talking about technology, it's always Celsius. So 62 degrees is warm, but it could easily be 10 more degrees and I could still be playing Civ. Once it starts to get to like 75, though, that's really hot, and you need to like probably take a break from playing or something like that and let everything cool off. But yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on in my computer. I am working on, I have to get these special screws. I got this special mount, and then I realized I didn't have screws that worked for it. So I have to get these special screws to get this mount for my CPU, and I have a perfectly good Corsair H60 liquid cooling unit for my CPU, and I have that already installed for my wife on her computer, and her CPU runs at like half the temperature that mine does. It's a great liquid cooling unit. So if the CPU runs cooler, then naturally everything in the computer will run cooler because the heat from the CPU won't be helping to heat up everything else. So I really need to get that installed. I'm hoping that fixes my problem. But in the meantime, I really need to get started on some faith here. In the meantime, it's been running pretty hot. And I'm hoping that it isn't somehow damaged, because I don't think it just restarted itself because of heat right now. But there were a couple days where I wasn't closely monitoring the heat, and I could tell that it was getting hot. So I was like, man, I think it's really hot. And I like turned on I use a program called Hardware Monitor to keep track of all my temperatures and stuff. So I turned that on, and it was like 80 degrees was the temperature of my video card. And I was like, oh my God, I'm killing it. And I had to quickly stop doing whatever it was that I was doing. So I'm hoping that it didn't somehow get damaged when it got like really, really hot those couple days. That because it's happened more than once, but because if it has, that would make me very sad. It's a very expensive video card, although I've never overclocked it or anything like that, so I haven't done anything to void the warranty, and it should still be under warranty. I'm thinking about calling the manufacturer sometime soon and being like, hey, this is screwing up, because it's cheaper now, but when I bought it, it was a very, very expensive graphics card, because it's the ATI 7970. If you were unaware of what my graphics card was or what my hardware was, all my hardware specs are on the main page under the About Me section. I have like all the specs on my computer if you're curious what I'm actually running to record these videos and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's the ATI 7970, and I bought it when it first came out, so it was very expensive. And I'm not trying to like brag or something like that. I'm just saying, like, I think it was like $600 when it first came out. Now I think you can get it for like $420. That's always the way of things. You know, you get the greatest thing that there is, and it's going to be pretty expensive. And then time goes on and it gets cheaper. But I definitely don't have $420 to replace the card, so hopefully it's under warranty. I got my card's the FXX, so I'll be giving them a ring, seeing if there's any known issues with the card as far as heat and stuff, because I do seem to be having some type of issue. And as I'm talking, and now that I'm monitoring the temperature, it is slightly going up. It's up to 64 degrees now, so it is slowly climbing. So maybe it was so hot that it had to like flash itself to shed some heat, because it's just slowly building up. Like I said, I'm running the fan at 80% speed, which really I actually found out that the difference between 80% speed and 100% speed is nothing. That once you put it up to 80% speed, that's just the software that runs it. And saying 80%, it's not actually 80%, because it's at full RPM at that point, rotations per minute. It's spinning as fast as it can once I say 80%, and there's no difference between 80 and 100. So the fan is spinning as fast as it possibly can right now to try to get that heat shed. I really need to get those special screws for my CPU to try to bring all the temperature down. I mean, this is what I record. You know, this is how I entertain the peeps. If something happened to this, then we're boned. I need to do currency first, so we'll research down that line. And then next, I'll just click on education and let it go down that line, because money becomes a problem pretty soon. Usually around turn like 90 to like 120, your money starts to get low if you haven't started researching money-related things in the tech tree. So we'll start with that first. And if you do something like the Oracle, that gives you a little bit of extra culture, +3, but it also gives you that whole free social policy, which normally would take me a lot of I'm only doing +8 right now. Look at this. I'm 21 turns away. So, I mean, 20, 30 turns worth of gathering up culture taken care of. And the fact that this takes 28 turns, it's like constructing it's almost like I'm doing two policies at once, because it's going to take me 28 turns to get this for a policy, and it's going to take me 21 turns to get it just from normal culture. So that's two policies within 28 turns, which will finish the Liberty tree for me, making culture less culture to get future policies, which is very helpful, increasing the happiness situation, which is important since I'm -1 right now. And then when you complete all of these policies, you get a great person of your choice near the capital, which is going to be, and you would think, a great scientist. But no, getting that early with Gods and Kings is incredibly OP, and I get a great prophet, and found my religion. Right now I have 0 in the way of faith, but I can get a great prophet and found my religion and really give me a head start on that whole thing. So it's a good course of action to go for the Oracle this early in the game. Hopefully, it does not get snagged from underneath of my feet. That would make me sad. I'm going to choose right here to wrap up this episode. Finally gaining some faith. I'll get the faith, enough faith to at least get a Pantheon just in time to give myself a free great profit, get the religion going. So I think you can see that we're off to a pretty good start. And it's a pretty small continent that we're on here. Obviously, we have it all to ourselves. So that could be a potentially good thing when going for science victory. We'll just keep making settlers, and I can easily have, like a good 4 or 5 cities on this continent just from settlers, and really get going on that science early in the game. So I think this is going to go really good towards getting our achievement. So I just want to say thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you're enjoying yet another Civilization playthrough. I'm enjoying playing it, so hopefully you're enjoying watching it. And I will see you on the next episode.